An orphan raised by Nina and elder to Papa in the village of Adventurous by nature, his curiosity gets the better of him as he tumbles into a hole created by the great earthquake, Luneth. Hello everyone, I'm Opaque Flake and welcome back to the Year of Final Fantasy with, of course, Final Fantasy 3, or the PSP. So have you been watching my Final Fantasy 2 Let's Play, or finished watching it? Or gonna, I hope so. I mean, you maybe just skipped to 3, but whatever. I had a hard time deciding if I wanted the NES version or the PSP version. I was also debating the PC version, and not really the DS version, because it's very low quality with a bunch of jaggies. I decided to go with the PSP version over the PC version and NES version. Alright, so essentially with the game said you can zoom in with L and R, or zoom out with R. Zoom in with L and zoom out with R, and then you see these sparkly things. Of course, if you know where everything is, you don't need to do it. But if you want to find out where they are, you would have to stay zoom in for the whole part of what you're exploring just to see them, just to see the shiny parts. Since I already touched it or interacted with it, it's not going to shine anymore. Essentially, for the most part, you're going to be zoomed in and you're going to be like, it's hard to navigate. But luckily, I've played this game before up to technically the second boss of the game, which is when I returned it to my friend and told her, I can't into this graphics and music. Well, not really the music, but the controls. I mean, touch controls to move around and zoom in, zoom out. I wasn't really a fan of it. You could have used the D-pad, but you always end up alternating back to the touchscreen on the DS. That didn't bode well with me at all. An Arctic Wind. But for the most part, I chose the PSP version for this main feature, Auto. The PC version does not have it for some fucking reason. I do not understand why. And I don't want to load an external component just to speed up random battles. Not that I need to, but it's handy that it comes in with its built-in auto battle and it doesn't seem like an emulator speed up. Which I can do, by the way, but I'm not going to. I mean, you really don't need to with the auto battle, so there's that. So for the most part, the NES version was really close. The only reason I chose against the NES version is for the auto battle. That's why I'm playing this version. It's auto battle. I love auto battle. Also, I'm not sure if many of you would enjoy the sprites as much as I would, and I gotta appeal to a general audience than those who are into sprites like I am. I mean, if you remember, I love the Origin sprites. I wish Final Fantasy 3 had the Final Fantasy Origins treatment. By the way, if you want, you can dual wield and get more attack. I wouldn't recommend against it. It's actually rather a good idea for you to do so. But when you get to the boss, I wouldn't use that strategy unless you're going to use the Antarctic Winds. I'm not going to use the Antarctic Winds. This game is giving you Antarctic Winds because this boss is weak against it. But you can actually beat that boss without using Antarctic Winds. And if you want, you can actually grind here for a bit and, you know, just heal up. I'm fine with what I have. I normally like fighting the boss around 50 HP because then I could just auto away without ever having to heal a potion. But, you know, that's just me. So when I was testing this game out with the NES version to see, you know, if it's gonna record fine, how's it gonna look, what can I mess around with edits and all that fun shit, I realized that the PSP version, well, not really, the whole remake, because this is the first Final Fantasy game to get a full-on 3D remake, which inspired 4, I believe. Well, not inspired, but said, hey, we should do 4, make it 3D. people love for, people will buy it. I assume that's I assume that's what's going on in their heads. Well, before I go on, let me just show on this cutscene here. I love this boss battle theme. I play this almost every time I boot up my Final Fantasy Theater the Curtain Call copy on my 3DS. It's just so fun. It's also challenging as well. I mean, I play Ultimate with the stylus. I try not to use the buttons because it's a little bit too easy. Alright, I'm gonna see if he doesn't die in this next hit, I'm gonna go to a potion. You can kill him with 1 or 2 hits with an Antarctic Wind in combination. I'm not gonna use it. I'd rather use the potion. Oh, I used the high potion. Wait, why didn't the game give me a high potion? Seriously? So early in the game? That's like, yeah, that's 500 HP. Oh well. So, I don't know if most of you have noticed, because I've been talking over it, but once you go into auto, since I'm recording this, for about 2 to 4 frames, the game slows down. That's because this game speeds up the hardware's, or at the time the PSP's, clock speed, so it can increase the attack animations. You have been chosen. Warrior from the land of darkness, you have been chosen as the bringer of hope. Darkness is threatening to engulf the world. When light is lost, the equilibrium will be no more. There are others who share your destiny. You must seek them out. Once you find them, I will bestow upon you our last light, our last hope. Now, go! So going back about the NES Famicom version, you start with 4 characters, 4 Onion Knights rather. And once you get to this point, you know, once you defeat the first boss, you can actually start using their jobs right away, which is 4 jobs, I believe. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 jobs, okay. In this one, you have to do a little bit more. You have to get the extra characters and do the first dungeon of the game to get your job classes, which I think it sucks, but whatever. I mean, the purpose of this whole remake is to add depth to the characters and the world around them. I mean, you could call it a ghost, but it was essentially outlines. Anywho, you get a special little scene if you do that before you enter and start the game normally. Alright, at so going on back to what I was saying, The NES version is essentially here. You guys are the Warriors of Light. Go save the world. And that's it. Another orphan raised by Topapa and Luneth's best friend. Unlike Luneth, he prefers reading over gamboling in the wild. His studies endow him with great knowledge that more than makes up for his shyness. Arc. And unlike the NES version, this version, you need to recruit characters within their own specific backgrounds, and like I said, giving them more depth. In the original version, if you go here and press the confirm or action button, whatever you want to call it, get a potion. If you were to zoom in, you will see sparkly lights, but I, didn't do that. I'll do that in the next area. But for the most part, I know most of the secrets up until, well, until the game turns blind for me. Final Fantasy 3 to me is next to 5, maybe 4, but definitely next to 5 is one of the most secretives or having of secrets in the whole game series that I know of. Because while I didn't play it, I have seen videos from time to time on the older versions of people like walking through walls and all that fun stuff. And like there's a bunch of secrets in this game. So I know what to expect for the most part. For example, there's nothing here, just a well. And that's, again, like, it's until I beat the first dungeon. So let's speak to everyone here and get some nice dialogue going on. Whoops, I already talked to Arc. It's because I already know what to do. So I know I scrubbed through this dude real quick, but he was just explaining the auto battle. Let's go speak to the Elder and... well, I'll speak to that NPC once I go back outside. So in the NES version, this water fountain actually works. But for some reason it doesn't inside here. I don't know why, but it doesn't. There was 2 water fountains. One is for revivification, or to resurrect fallen party members, and the other one, which is this one, was to heal. Also in the original, at least from my knowledge, because I played it up to where I stopped playing DS version. Again, testing all that fun stuff. Nothing in here, but there will be items in pots. There was I don't know if it was a glitch or anything, or a bug, because NES games were sure buggy. I mean, the intelligence stat for Final Fantasy 1 was buggy. I think this one was evade and defense, I think. Oh, attack was buggy, I believe. Well, it wasn't buggy, it was correctly done, I guess. But here, you could sleep in any bed without having to talk to the innkeep, and you'd be fine. You would get instant healing. Beds, you didn't need permission to sleep in the beds, you got full healing. But from what I remember here, that's not so much the case. there's so much for me to talk about right away before I stop, you know, speaking over dialogue and whatnot so you can read it. And it's just pretty much explaining the game at the same time as explaining myself about the game and whatnot. Because from after, you know, again, the first dungeon, it's going to be straight up blind. And that's where all the fun is going to ensue. I'm going to go back to but I'm going to speak to Ark first. I'm going to try to get all 4 characters. And then from there on, we're going to do the side questing galoreness that is this game. Anywho, I gotta reassure you guys, you're gonna be listening to both the 8-bit and arranged versions of the game, on and off, in between parts, or whenever I switch them inside the game. Eventually I'll stop bringing up the NES Famicom comparisons, but in the original version, there's a random dude here in a campfire. He gets spooked by the Onion Kids, and he tells you, you know, something happened. But it's different here because you're getting new characters and backstory and all that fun stuff. Anywho, once you enter this room, or any room honestly, you'll discover that, well, like the cutscene I showed you earlier, everyone is an outline. You know, I wouldn't be surprised if one of the characters or NPC said, "Oh well, I guess this is my life now. Better get used to it." And yes, I do speak to every NPC. At least I try to. But you should be familiar with that if you're familiar with me and my videos, as well as, well, the other Final Fantasy videos. Especially Final Fantasy 2. I think that was a good example of how I would talk to a bunch of NPCs. Let's go in... No, this is a water fountain where you recover your HP and MP. So no need to go in there. At least not yet. I hate to say it, but once I start playing this blind, which should be around part 3, I think I'm gonna be zooming in and walking around like this a lot just to see these things. Of course, I already knew it was there, but it's gonna be happening a lot. So, get used to it, I suppose. I mean, it's gonna suck, right? I mean, imagine me running around like this. Ugh. It's like playing a Game Boy Advance game. But it's also very useful for newcomers, especially, you know, me. I don't know all the secrets in this game, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I think it's fair for me to use it. It is an in-game mechanic. Not much you can really do about it. So, I did mention the zoom in and zoom out thing. You don't have to do it. You can take the old approach and just press X everywhere like I'm doing right now. You can't tell I'm pressing X, but take my word for it. But if you were to zoom in, let's say on the other side of the wall, you would see this spark and you'd be like, how do I get there? I'm blocked. And how I just walked over this, you would have got it. In the NES version, when I tried it, I'm like, what the fuck? You can't even see it at an angle. because there are some indications on what walls you can walk through and not, and that's where all the mystery and trickery goes. But I assume this is alcohol. Makes sense because it's an inn. You think Nintendo would censor it, but whatever. I hate to admit it, but it took me a while to figure out how to find the ship. It's dumb because he mentioned desert, and I'm like, in fact, it took me a while to find Sid, but I think in the NES version this is Sid, so there's that. As far as secret passages go, I think it's great. This game is great. I mean, it has a bunch. Let me show you one right now. Ah, see? Didn't expect that. The NES version's a lot easier to see. It's kind of hard to tell in this version, like, it really is. You know what, let me show it this way. So you can stay zoomed in and look for all the items, but eventually once you move to a certain part, the camera's gonna automatically pan out. I know where everything is, but I'm gonna show you via zoom in. Get the Mithril Helm here. I think, yep, this is the staff, and the next one should be a Zeus Wrath. Or I think the NES called it, well, the translation for the NES called it Zeus's Anger. Yeah, Zeus's Wrath. By the way, I did say, you know, this had a Nintendo localization and stuff, even though I'm playing this on the PSP. I think it's thanks to Nintendo why we got, I hate to say this, a remake, but most likely I'm referring to the translation, which then got to the PC and the PSP. Because originally this version did not get a US release, but it had English subtitles, so that's all fine and dandy. You don't want to go in this cave, but if you do, I wouldn't risk it, at least not yet, not until you get all 4 party members, which we're gonna be doing at this first part of the game while I explain everything! Explain it all! And like I said, I can't compare the NES to stuff I haven't really played, so I'll try my best to look it up and look for comparisons to bring up. But yeah, once you get into Sid's airship, you find this young lass. Raised in Kansas by the Mithril smith Taka, whose rigorous training led her to run away from home. Again, Refia. As much as I'm not a fan of the 3D work, I mean, it's not bad, don't get me wrong, it's nothing like the Android versions, or mobile versions. I really like how expressive they are. It's, again, like Bravely Default of the models, and I really like the character designs when they're, you know, in 2D. I'm not sure if I mentioned it already, I already forgot. But you get the airship at the very beginning of the game, and this is the first dungeon. And you're thinking, well, why'd you go fly anywhere else in sequence break? Because you can't. Mountains, and this boulder here. So you're kind of forced to, well, go here. Not to mention, she did mention we gotta go to the king for the Mytho ring. But instead, we find this young lad. As it goes straight to the King's Hall before I show off all the secrets in this place. Which there actually is quite a number here, as you've seen some already. A loyal soldier of King Sasuna's army, he narrowly escaped the Djinn's curse. His prime concern is finding the missing Princess Sarah, Ingiz. I know it's not really worth mentioning, but in the fan translation, the king says, talk to the bones or search the bones. Here it's look for the skeleton key, but when I get to the dungeon, I'll, bring up what he really meant by that. So the secrets of this room or this whole castle, I'm not going to the western tower, by the way. They're indicated by, well, the cracks up here, just like in the original version. You're gonna get a lot of neat stuff in here, by the way. Very useful and very handy. And if you are not familiar with this yet, I hope you will, because it's gonna be very, very handy in this game. I heard this game is really hard, but it's also really easy. It's really easy because if you know how your jobs work and you minimize and maximize it, you will get, well, some smooth sailing. But if you're messing around or, well, new to it, you're gonna have a hard time. I know how the job system works, so I don't think I'll struggle that much, but I know I'm gonna need to buy stuff. Normally I'm stingy about that stuff, but here, not so much. So, I mean, if you're playing this game already, you can tell, like, what the fuck is that in the background next to the black? That should be an indication, as well as this clipping me through the chest for some reason. Indication, as well as this up here in the top left of here, that there is a false wall. If you were zoomed in the whole time, and I mean the whole time, you would probably see the entrance, but it's really hard to see. Honestly, it's a lot easier on the NES version because it's top down, or it's almost isometric, but it really is top down in a sense. So I'm getting a lot of nice equips. I'm not equipping anything just yet because there's still a lot more stuff to grab. For the next few areas I need to go, it's back to Ur, and the original first cave where we started the game off, which is known as the Altar Cave, I believe? Oh crap. This room is not really important. I mean, you'll be coming here eventually, which is really soon, honestly, but it's still not important. There's nothing really to do there. Maybe there is more to do there and I don't know, but I'm just saying. So you could sleep here if you want for free healing. You might need this once you hit the Western Tower. Between the Western Tower and the Eastern Tower, the Western Tower is the one with monsters because it has a nice item, aka the White Slayer and some other items. And the Eastern Tower is free items, no monsters or anything like that. But I'm not going to be doing that right now, because it's all about collecting items right as of now, and then we'll do a lot of random battles, which is going to be a lot considering it's a mini dungeon and a mini dungeon. If you consider the first dungeon to be an actual dungeon, go for it, but I think it's more of a mini dungeon because it's a beginner's tutorial on everything. No secrets in this tower as far as I remember, but I could be wrong. I mean, I'm not 100% knowledgeable to everything here. Kind of makes me want to look up a guide and see if I'm right, if I got everything or not. You can rest on this bed if you want as well. So Lady Sarah and Ingus got something going on. Interesting. Not really. It should be expected because, well, same age, they grew up in the same place, and so forth. Also JRPG. So in the original NES version, you start as the 4 Onion Kids and you get your jobs as soon as you exit the world map. Here you don't. I already mentioned that, but I'm recapping. Because when it comes to this game, they had to tweak it a bit so the first dungeon wouldn't be impossible. I can see them, you know, making it a bit easier. I just had to make sure that it was back there. Couldn't really remember one-to-one. But what they did was they let freelancers cast level 1 black and white magic. And what they could have done is had NPCs say bring potions with you if you're going to go face that evil Djinn. But they didn't. So they let you cast level 1 and level 1 white and black magic, which isn't so bad. I mean, you're really limited on what you can cast thanks to, well, Kaz's being in a curse and the castle not having any options. Even if they did, they'd be in a curse as well. You can do this with just Luneth and you'll be fine, but I decided to not do so because of, in case they do get an encounter, more experience. And it's not just there either. There's more in these pots. I think Final Fantasy III is the first Final Fantasy to incorporate pots having items. But the original Final Fantasy also says, no, the NPC just straight up says, touch that switch, there's a secret passage. And you touch a switch and there's a secret passage. By the way, the enemies you fight are only in the back here, like the old man said. And they're whatever you would fight in the overworld. From here to Kaz's, I believe. So if you want, you can zoom in. There's something else in here. You get a cure. And get some nice weapons and armor, I believe. Now that I got everything, I can go to the next area, which is the final area I want to go to. And that's the area... Damn, then again, she can't come with me. Alright, that's fine. The next area we need to go to is back in Kaz's, which is the cave I mentioned. And I said you shouldn't come here unless you have 3 party members. And... well, at least a full party, but essentially you're going to be there with 3 party members. So, yeah. So what you really want to do, what you really want to do is get your formation ready and decide who do you want to be your healer and your caster. For now, I guess I'm gonna give Cure to Ingus. I believe he has the most MP because he's highest level as of right now, and I'm gonna give Arc Blizzard. Yeah, since Ingus is the highest level, he has 4 MP, so more cures for us. Not that it matters, because, you know, I have potions, lots and lots of potions. It's lots and lots of trains! The staff isn't as great as the dagger, I believe. But, I mean, if you don't have an option for it, go for it. Not that it really matters, to be honest, because, well, you'll see it soon enough. So right now, we're well balanced. I don't need to buy anything in the stores, at least not yet. But it is wise to equip yourself. In fact, I don't know why I equipped Refia, because she's gonna be leaving us once we go back inside Kaz's, and you'll see why. So you're gonna be coming here with 3 people. And this next area you're gonna enter is rather tough. In fact, I would want to get 1 more level, but I should be fine with just running away. I hope. It's weird because this whole portion is tough as fuck, but once you enter the secret room, easy as a motherfucker. So what you want to do is run away. If you encounter anything, run away. But these are undead, so you can... Ah, crap. You can technically fight them if you had the holy arrow and the white blade, but look, I'm dead already. And look at that crap damage. I am so screwed. I don't want to die. Please run away. Please run away. Please run away! Please run away. Oh, that's it, game over, and I didn't save. I am so sad. Oh boy. Well, I died. And I forgot to save. So, reminder to save. I'll see you back when I get back to where I was. So, I probably could have used the Zeus's Wrath to save myself from that encounter, but I didn't. Also, when I died, I realized I shouldn't be even going here, at least not yet. I forgot that cave is for a little bit later. So, wasted my time for nothing. Well, maybe not nothing if you're ever planning on playing this game on the NES version or, well, the PC, PSP, or DS version. Now you know how to fuck around in there. But that does save me time to go to the next area, which is the final area I want to go to for this part to wrap it up, and that's this original cave known as the Altar Cave. One secret right here in the very beginning! And I can't wait till I start playing this game blind, because everything will be new to me, as well as I get to stop talking like, oh, this is what you do, and this is here, and I know so much about this game. I personally hate talking like that. It's like, I don't know, I feel so pretentious almost. Of course I don't have to do it, but it's only 2 parts, I assume. Encounter rates are up here, but it's cool. You could have come here as soon as you want with a Luneth. I decided against it because I'd rather have my whole party get experience while I'm going down this cave. Although now that I realize it, because Ingus is a level higher than us, I forgot to give everyone their magic like I did previously. I guess the game wanted you to use or wanted you to come back as a Luneth and, well, you know, kick everyone's asses in here with just Luneth, because you'd be doing fine. They're just goblins. You get the occasional plant eye, spirit orb, and shell-licking like monster, but for the most part, you just get a nice batch of items. Other than the goblins, these are all the enemies you fight in this cave. This whole cave is pretty much items to prepare you for your journey. And the game never tells you that, you know, it's all up to you just for exploring how you want to and whatnot. But once I grab these items, I will see you outside in the overworld, because this just leads you back to where the whole game began, where Luneth fell down. That's the hole he fell down in because he's a clumsy fuck. You know, I'm inclined to show one more dungeon, the super mini dungeon, the West Tower in the Castle Susune. But I'm like, I don't want to make it too long, especially since it's part 1. Get the sleep magic spell, bronze bracers, and longswords. So now I have 2 longswords. So I'll see you outside the world map via this interesting transition. You know, the good news about me dying is that I get slightly less playtime on my file, because I already don't have to speak to anyone and all that fun stuff. But anyways, with that said and done, thank you for watching this part of Let's Play Final Fantasy III with me, Opaque Flake. Part of the year of Final Fantasy. Gonna land this ship here, properly. And then in the next part, we're gonna be doing the West Tower, the Mithril Mine, and the Djinn Cave. But not in that order. Okay, thanks, bye.